What's poppin', world? I hope all is well. Thanks for tuning in. It's your boy Speaks the Beast. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If at any moment during this video you like what you're hearing, go ahead and hit that like button. If I say something and I'm a little off, or maybe you agree with me, right? Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. Today, we're going to review this clip from the Pivot podcast. They got Stephen A. Smith. He's on there in this particular segment talking about why he never got married. We're going to watch this clip. I'm going to break this all the way down. Let's get into this.
This is in the book.
Yeah. Stephen.
Stephen.
Yes.
If you know so much about marriage,
Yeah.
why have you never been married?
Because I didn't know how to act. This
Said
is
it in the
simple.
book.
It's
Your fault.
It's totally my fault. Totally my fault. It's not anybody's fault but mine.
Hey, ain't nothing like accountability. It ain't nothing like accountability. Let's keep going.
I was on the road over 200 days out of the year. I'm not going to be faithful on being on the road 200 days out of the year.
You can.
I know.
You can make a choice.
No.
Just because you.
I didn't say you can't.
Right.
I didn't say you can't. I said me. I could not be on the road as much as I'm on the road all of those years and honor a relationship. I know how to treat a woman very well. My mother and my four sisters raised me very much. And I'm one of those guys that call it a blessing or a curse. 90% of my living relatives are women. Like St. Thomas, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, upstate, the whole bit, Florida, Carolinas. I got relatives all over the place. Most of them are female. So I've been surrounded by females all my life. And you get to know what the do's and don'ts, what the wants and don't wants are, and all of this other stuff. That's a given. And there's a level of treatment that I'm never going to go lower than. So in that regard, I'm good. But when I was on the road for 200 days out.
And let me say this. He makes a valid point. And just to give you all, if you're new here or you haven't watched much of my content, you know, I'm big on marriage, right? I'm big on men striving to, you know, get married, especially men of a certain caliber. I want to see these guys bond with women. I want to see them have successful relationships, successful marriages. I want to see them be great husbands. I want to see them be great fathers, right? I'm a big man of God, right? So I push for that. Usually a man of, say, these guys' statuses, right? Or this guy's status, right? Stephen A. Smith. I would be all down his throat. Like, come on, man. You out here playing with these women. You need to settle down and get you one. Because I know you got a list of them. You got the pick of the litter, right? You got some great options. Go ahead, be a man, step up, do the right thing, right? But in this particular case, I can appreciate his honesty, right? I can appreciate his honesty. He's saying that he's on the road, right? Roughly about 200 days out of the year, right? So I could see where being in a marriage could be a challenge unless your wife is traveling with you, in which they could have probably made it happen that way if he found a woman who he thought was worthy of that, you know, title, worthy of that position. You know, she could have, let's just say, traveled with him, right? Because he's not the only man who, say, travels a lot for work and, you know, would have a wife. You know, there's men who have wives and they move like that, and, you know, their wives come with them if they feel like they're going to have those urges while they're on the road, right? So, you know, it's a couple of ways to look at this, but let's just say, for the sake of conversation, the woman can't go with him. That's the position he's taking. She can't come with me, and I got all these other women throwing it at me, right? They handing it to me. So I'm not going to bond into that type of relationship or a marriage knowing that I can't be faithful when I'm out there moving around, moving and shaking. So in a nutshell, you know, the good thing about what he's doing with his life, he's chasing his purpose. And it's always good for men to chase their purpose, number one, because that purpose, 9 times out of 10, is going to allow for you to be the provider you were called to be, right? You walking your purpose is gonna, at some point, if not have an immediate impact on how well of a provider you will be, because hopefully that purpose will bring you those finances, right, or whatnot, right? So shout out to him for chasing his purpose. And in doing so, he's saying he's not able to settle down. Let's keep watching. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper with that.
Out of the year, man, and it's like, and this is the part that men don't reveal that much, but I will. When you get older, you grow up, and it's like you don't need it no more. You don't need it no more, so you don't chase.
I don't know.
That's entirely different than when it's handed to you on a silver platter. And you don't have to work for it. That doesn't mean you can't say no. It certainly doesn't mean that you don't say no. What it does,
You do have to have, let me say this, discipline and self-control. As a man, regardless of how you look, how much money you got, how successful you are, you're gonna always have to have discipline and self-control. So him using that, as an excuse, I understand it, right? I've been highly sought after, right? I'm still highly sought after to a degree. But you have to have discipline and self-control in these instances. I get what he's saying, but all right, let's roll it.
does mean is that it's harder.
I had a homeboy, his saying was, he said, I don't chase it, but I ain't fast enough to run from it.
That was me for a long time. That was me for a long time. And so I saw cats in our industry using their per diem to pay for their women. Meals, hotels, that kind of thing. They come out of their pocket. Because if it did, their wife would have noticed. And I'm like, I ain't living like that. I ain't gonna be that kind. Nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Gandhi and I'm not the Pope or anything like that, but I'm a God-fearing, decent man. I'm not living like that. And I've never been that guy. But it's not easy when you're younger and you're climbing and you're scratching and you're clawing and you're not settled and ain't nothing but temptation comes your way. I ward it off with ease now because I've been there, done that. I'm about to turn 58 years old, but I don't need it like I used to. But back in the day, listen, I'm not gonna be like those dudes years ago. Remember those dudes that went on that apology tour?
Yeah.
They pissed me off. They really did. That was another Oprah thing. That was another Oprah thing and Susan Taylor from the
All right. So he talking about the men who, ultimately, find the woman who they want, and then they shame all the other men who are out here playing around, kind of juggling women, let's just say, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and sum this thing up. I'm gonna also share some of my personal experiences, right, with knowing yourself. Let me just say it like that. Right? Knowing yourself, right? So as a man and as a woman as well, if you got women watching, you have to know yourself. He's saying he knows himself very well, and with the kind of schedule he had and the traveling that he was doing, he would not be able to be faithful to a woman being away from her for all that time, right? Now, he's just speaking, quote unquote, his truth, right? And I don't have a problem with him speaking his truth because a lot of men don't speak their truth. They get in certain situations and they do things behind the backs of the women or their wives that they have, right? So I would rather a man live an honest life. But first and foremost, I would rather men and women, right, live a life that is pleasing or fulfilling to God, right? That's number one. So however you're gonna make that work, make it work, right? Out here, fornicating, dealing with all the women, doing your thing, juggling it, and just saying, well, because I travel a lot, this is what I got to do, right? I don't want you to resort to that too, to where you're just constantly living in a life of sin, right? I don't want you doing that either. But that doesn't mean that I'm not understanding as to what he's saying. I get what he's saying. and he's chasing his purpose. So there's that part of it as well, right? So it's a lot of things to unpack when you come to that. So a man like that, what should his life look like if he's truly following God, let's just say, right? And as I explained earlier in the video, that would be you bonding with a woman who you love and admire and desire, and who's willing to, be this wife to you the proper way, let's just say. And it sounds like in his case, for his urges, she would need to travel with him, right? To kind of keep all the other distractions away from him. Now, he knows himself. So again, he saved himself from certain situations by moving the way he moved. And when I say certain situations, I mean marrying a woman, but cheating on her while he's out on the road for work, right? He avoided that. Now, from my experience, like I was saying a minute ago, you got to know yourself. I was in a marriage, right? And my wife at the time, I'm in North Carolina. She was, let's just say, in another state on the southern region. Well, no, she was here, but she was from, let me say that, from another state, in the southern region. And for family reasons, she would travel back and forth while we were married. So not before we got married, like while we were dating and stuff like that, she wasn't going back that often. But after the marriage, once we got deep into the marriage, she decided to go back more frequently, right, for family reasons. And it led to her being gone for about half of the month. And at some point we had a conversation. I said, I can't really function well, with you being gone half the month. So after talking about it for weeks and months, we decided, right, to part ways. And, it was what it was. But I know myself. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be with her, be stressing or be longing for this, longing for that, to where, I feel like I need to get it from somewhere else. No, I'm going to just dissolve of the marriage, right? We're going to talk about it. We're going to wash our hands with it. It is what it is. And then if I had to ask God for forgiveness in doing so, with the divorce or whatever, it is what it is. But I cannot be in a marriage where now she's gone, right, for half of the month, for multiple months, right? So anyway, it is what it is. But again, that go back to I know myself, right? And but that's a whole nother thing. We'll take a deep dive into that as you guys continue to watch and subscribe and all of that. And I'll break all this down about me. I'll break it all down for you guys. But anywho, shout out to Stephen A. Smith for keeping it real. I would like to see him bond with a woman, get married, go towards that direction, of course, living a life, if he's not already, right? Living a life that's more pleasing to God. But I get where he's coming from. He's chasing his purpose, and he's saying why he never got married, right? And it makes sense. I get it. But anywho, that's all I got for this video. Like the video. Leave a comment in the comment section. Share this video. If you like what you're hearing, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more fire for you guys. And remember this, keep God first. I'm also going to do some live panels in the future. Want you guys to get more involved in the conversation. Let's solve some of these crazy issues we got going on out here with these relationships, marriage, dating. I want to talk about a little bit of everything. Current events, sports, you name it. Let's dive into it. Remember this. I love you all. Be blessed.